All right, good afternoon, everybody. By the end of this video, you're going to know the top 3 mistakes that most beginner ATR practitioners make and how you can avoid them. Okay, so all is one. Kimberly is watching. Princess Omoshule is watching. Hello, everyone. All is one. So today we're going to talk about the top 3 mistakes, right? That you might be making in your money ritual. I tried to change the name on here, but I guess it didn't change it. Okay. And so the other day, I actually did a class on introduction to ancestor veneration in Haitian Vodou, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed everyone who was in class. You know, one of the aspects of Haitian Vodou is community, right? And so we learn from each other. We learn through each other's questions, through each other's experiences. And so it was beautiful to be in that class where we were able to share each other's experiences. So if you missed out on that class and you still would like to watch the replay, you're like, Kat, I signed up or I didn't even know, whatever the case is, don't worry about it. I got you covered. Just go ahead and type in replay, all right, in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on whether you're watching on Facebook, hi Facebook, right? All is one, Michelle Smith, all is one. No matter where you're watching from, go ahead and type in replay in the chat, and I will go ahead and send you the link personally, okay? I will post it underneath the comment. If I don't see you like it or acknowledge it, then I will send it to you personally, okay? So that I know that you received it. Hi, Jamea, I see you watching, okay? All right, so again, those of you who are just joining us, if you missed out on the class that I did the other day and you would like the replay, just go ahead and type in replay, okay? So why did I decide to do this live? Why did I decide to talk about this topic, right? There was a young lady who was working with me recently, right? And now I see why a lot of my elders, the elders that I learned from, I learned from elders in the Ifa traditions. I learned from elders in the Orisha Hoodoo tradition, right? I learned from elders in the Haitian Vodou traditions and so on and so forth. And a lot of my elders are very, very picky about who they take on as mentors, right? As mentees. And I'm starting to understand it because I was working with this young lady, and she was obsessed with working with the Loa, right? She had this obsession with working with the Loa. She was obsessed that she could hear them talking, and she could see them in her dreams, and she could see them in broad daylight, and they would freely communicate with her, whatever the case is. Now, as a Vodouisant, okay, as someone who practices Vodou, right, I am one of the principles of Vodou is to mind your own business, right? All is one, reflection, all is one, right? Is to mind your own business, mind your own spiritual business, right? Now, we are here to learn from each other, but if whatever the person next to you is doing is not resonating with you, then just leave it alone and move on, right? And so also, we are not in a position to dictate anybody's reality, because I'm going to tell you one thing: if somebody's beliefs is working for them, if somebody's beliefs is helping them heal their family, heal themselves, if you can see the physical shift, there's a physical shift that people go through when they're going through some sort of realignment with their lives. No matter what it is that you practice, you can physically see somebody's glow. You can physically see somebody's energy shift when they are doing something that is healing them, whether that's a system of Buddhism, whether that's Islamic, whether that's Christianity, whether that's any type of African spiritual system. No matter what it is, no matter what they're doing, there's a physical glow that you can observe in people. And so if I'm witnessing that physical glow, if I'm witnessing that this person's life is physically getting better and better and better, right? Then who am I to say that what they're doing is wrong, or they're doing it the wrong way, or they have no right to do this and they have no right to do that? Who am I to say that, right? I don't have any right to say that. However, I do have a right to say that that doesn't resonate with me. That doesn't apply to me. I see it working for you, but it's a no for me. Type in a one in the chat if that made sense. Type in a one in the chat if you understand what I'm if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Hi, Kimberly Brown. Hello. Right? Type in a one if you're with me here. Let me see if you guys are listening. It doesn't mean just because it's working for someone else, right? Like I'll take my family. A huge portion of my family is Christian, and I've seen some of my family perform miracles, right? Survive abusive relationships, survive really crazy things, right? And so, who am I to say that Christianity is wrong? It's just not for me. Christianity, the Christianity that I was raised in, it's probably not even the true Christianity from our ancestors, had limitations for me. And so it wasn't enough for me. It didn't give me the connection that I have when I work with my ancestors, when I work in ATRs, right? But that is my experience. Okay. And so that is a principle in Vodou, because remember, Vodou was born out of necessity to defeat a common enemy. There was no, your God is better than my God, and my God is better than your God, and you're worshiping it the wrong way. You're supposed to give it green bananas, not yellow bananas. You're supposed to pronounce it anana instead of anyana. You're supposed to pronounce it ochun instead of oshun. Like, they didn't care about all of that. All those little details didn't matter, because both people, I was going to say both tribes, but there were multiple tribes. Both people, both indigenous people, both the indigenous people of the Caribbean, both the indigenous people of the IET, and those that were brought from West Africa, both of them were on the brink of extinction. Well, at least in that area, okay? Not in Africa. Africa has plenty of people, right? I meant in that area. The indigenous people themselves, they were on the brink of extinction. To this day, they'll tell you, most history books will tell you that the Taino people are extinct. That's not true. There are descendants of the Taínos still roaming the earth. We know that. But most history books will tell you that tribe is pretty much gone. Right? And so do you see the desperation that came, right? That birthed the Vodou that we have today, right? And so there are thousands of years of the Taino traditions, because the people of the Caribbean, they were there for thousands of years before the Europeans ever stepped foot. Thousands of years. So there are thousands of years of indigenous traditions within Vodou. Okay? And so who am I to say that your experience is wrong? Have you been around for 6,000 years to know that's wrong? Have you been around long enough to see that's wrong, right? And so I went off on a whole tangent, but I'm telling a story here, and work with me here. Today's a holiday, so I got time today. Usually I just stay on for about 20-30 minutes, but I have time today, okay? And so I say that because I want to drive home that point, that I understand that everyone's going to have their own experiences. So for all we know, this person could have had the power to speak to the Loa, and maybe they were seeing the Loa, maybe the Loa were speaking to them. But the fact still remains that this person came to me because they were a baby in this spiritual world. Some of you watching me are a baby in this spiritual world. Okay? Some of you, you're dabbling into this world. You have a few 7-day candles that you dabbled with. You may have bought a green candle to do a little bit of a money spell, dabbled into a little bit of money spell. You may have a nice little ancestor altar with a picture of grandma, picture of great auntie, picture of grandpa, right? You're just starting out. You're just dabbling in, and you're a baby. And that doesn't mean that you're any less powerful than an elder. Absolutely not. You've always, the power that's within you has always been with you, will always be with you. Type in a 7 if you're with me, okay? The power that's within you has always been with you since the day that you arrived on this earth, and it will remain with you until you leave this earth and beyond. Type in a 7 if that made sense. And so just because you are a baby in the spiritual world does not mean you do not have any power. It does not mean that your power is less than the elder that you may be learning from. It does not mean that your power is less than mine. It does not mean that your power is less than your Babalao or less than your Ianifa or less than your Hugan or less than your Mabo. Type in a 7 if that made sense. I don't see any 7s in the chat here. I want to make sure that you guys are understanding me. Okay? Just so, because guys, let's have a conversation real quick. You know that when you watch a superhero movie, right? The superhero always had their power, or whenever they got their power, whether they knew how to handle that power or not, the power was there. Okay, I got a couple of 7s. Okay, there's a lag. Okay, that's fine. All right. So whether they knew how to handle that power or not, the superhero has the power. Sometimes the superhero is born with the power, like Superman, for example, right? Sometimes the superhero has been given the powers, but whether they have mastered how to use the power is there. You guys picking up what I'm putting down? Type in an 8 if you understand this new analogy, because now I introduced the superhero. So your power is already within you, whether you know how to manage it or not, whether you know how to master it or not, it is still within you. And so, yes, this young lady may already have the power to hear the law, to communicate with the law, very much so. But she is still a baby. She is still a baby. And so she came to me because she wanted to learn how to work with the law. Now, here's the problem with a lot of people who are new to Haitian voodoo, or who are new to African spiritual systems, are new to African traditional religions, who are new to ATRs, is that we want to skip steps, right? We want to go straight to the Loa. We want to go straight to the Orisha. Oh yeah, you know, Oshun, I'm a child of Oshun. I'm a child of Yemoya. I'm a child of Ogun. You better not mess with me because I'm a child of blah, 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 blah. But who's your grandmother? What's her name? Do you know your great-grandmother's name? Do you know your great-grandfather's name? Do you know your great-auntie? Do you know what your great-grandfather did for a living? Do you know what your great-grandmother, do you know what she was known for? Do you know any recipes from your family? Do you know any doctors, any attorneys, any physicians, any entrepreneurs in your family? Some of you don't even know past your grandmothers. Some of you don't even know your grandmother's full name. You just know her as Nana. You just know her as Grandma. You don't even know her full name. Some of you don't even know what your grandmother's childhood was like. What was your grandmother's childhood like? What was your mother's childhood like? But you're worried about who has your head. You're worried about you're a child of such and such. What about who are you a child of here in this physical world? And so the number one, is you're skipping steps. You're trying to work with the Loa. You're trying to work with the Orisha. You're trying to work with the saints. You're trying to work with everybody else but your ancestors. What's your great-grandmother's full name? Type it in the chat. If you know your great-grandmother's full name, type it in the chat right now. What's your great-grandfather's full name? Who is your grandmother? Who is your grandfather? Other than being your grandmother, who was she? What type of woman was she before she was your grandmother? What were some of her life experiences? What were some things that she had to overcome? Maybe she has some wisdom for you. Maybe she's going through the exact same thing that you're going through right now. But you wouldn't know that because you're worried about being a child of insert Orisha or Loa that you know nothing about here. You're worried about this Orisha telling you blah, blah, blah. This Orisha is talking to me through these plastic cards from Amazon that were made in China in some sweatshop with sweat, literally sweat dripping all over them while people are being paid $1 a day. And you think that some energy, some 6,000, 7,000-year-old energy is talking to you through those cards. You're delusional. Who is your great-grandmother? That's who you need to be worried about. Who is she? Who's your great auntie? Who are the business owners in your family? Who are the homeowners? Who owned land in your family? Your entire family did not experience poverty. I have a hard time believing that. I'm preaching. I'm taking this personal. Let me take my feelings out of this. But that needed to be said. You don't know who you are. You don't even know your great grandmother. You don't even know who your great grandfather is. You don't know where you came from. But you want to speak to insert deity, insert random deity that I just Googled and I know nothing about. Insert that here. Your ancestors, their blood is running through your veins. Their DNA is all up and down your face. You look in the mirror and you see a reflection of your ancestors. You see a sum total of all of your ancestors' eyes, your nose, the shape of your cheeks, the shape of your lips, the color of your skin, your eyebrows, the type of hair that you have. All of that comes from your ancestors, but you're worried about Eloi or in the Disorisha. What about your ancestors? What about you? Who are you? How do you know who you are if you don't know where you came from? How can you step into the identity that's going to allow you to receive the abundance that you're asking for? A lot of you are asking for that $10,000 a month. I want to make $10,000 a month. You don't think your ancestors want that for you too? I want to own a home. I want to be a homeowner. You don't think your ancestors want you to be a homeowner? I want to buy land. I want to go to Africa and I want to buy land and I want to be a farmer, or I want to hire farmers, or I want to rent out the land to farmers. I don't even want to go all the way to Africa. I want to buy land here in Florida. You don't think your ancestors want that for you? But you're worried about answer Orisha number 567 that you got from the internet that you know nothing about. You're skipping steps. We need to be working with our ancestors first. Strengthen your relationship with your ancestors. Who is your great grandma? What was your grandmother's childhood like? What are some of your grandpa's gifts? Your great auntie, what was she known for? What were some of her experiences in life? And when you begin to understand where you came from, you start to see a mirror of those things inside of you. Oh, grandma, she used to love the piano. She used to love poetry. She used to love the kitchen. She could throw down in the kitchen. She used to love to travel. Ooh, that woman would go out and see the world. Oh, she used to have 2 or 3 boyfriends. She had 2 or 3 husbands. What type of life did your grandmother live? What type of life did your great grandmother live? And what can you learn from her experience? What can you learn from her experience? What can you learn from her experience? I'm preaching. And so for all you know, great grandmother or great auntie or cousin number whatever in the back somewhere was working with Yeye Oshun already, was working with Ogun already. Look at that. Interesting. And maybe they have a recipe that they used every time they wanted to work with Ogun to break through some obstacles. For all you know, they used to work with a spiritual system that you were always curious about, but you just didn't know how to get started in it. And now they show you the favorite rum that they used to use to shake some shit up. Look at that. Or maybe they share an experience, and this experience is exactly what you're going through. And then you see an exact mirror and you're like, wait a minute, you went through that too? Well, how did you overcome it? Well, I did X, Y, and Z. And now that gives you a new thought. Well, Kat, I don't know my family like that. Go get to know them. What's stopping you? What's stopping you from lighting a candle and asking your ancestors to help open the doors for you to reconnect with your family? Fix it. Don't complain about it. Fix it. How can I? Not I can't. How can I? Well, I don't have contact with my family like that to have these types of conversations. Well, how can I? How can I make this happen? Okay? All right, let's move on because I've been preaching for quite some time there. Okay? All right. Those of you who are like, man, Kat, you're preaching. I love what you're saying. All right. I will be hosting a 30-day okay, I'm trying to multitask here. All right, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about this ritual coming up. It's a 30-day ancestor harmonization ritual, and I just put the link in the chat there on inside of the Facebook group, okay? And I'm going to put it here on YouTube. All right, so those of you who are interested in this ritual, you can go ahead and click on the link. You don't have to commit to anything right now. You could just click on the link just to learn about it, okay? All right, so this 30-day ancestor harmonization is exactly what I'm talking about here, okay? Where I'm talking about connecting with your ancestors, knowing who you are, knowing your roots, okay? Knowing where you came from, so that you don't have to start over. What happens is we come here with a spiritual team, okay? We decide to have this human experience with the spiritual team. And this spiritual team is here to help us remember who we are. Remember what we came here to do, because we all chose to came on this earth for a reason. Whatever that reason is, it could be multiple reasons. It could be just to experience this world. Type in a 3 if you're with me. Anybody ever seen the movie Soul? It's a Disney movie where one of the main characters, they're out here looking for their purpose. What's my purpose, right? Oh, this guy, he's in the Olympics. This guy's an athlete. This guy's a musician. This guy's a poet. This guy's a blah 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 blah. And I want to find what's my purpose? What's my purpose? I want to find my purpose. And then at the end of the movie, he realized that the purpose was just to live, was just to be, was just the experience. So some of us, that's all we came here to do, is to just have one big adventure. Right? It's just to come in here and have one big adventure. And so we have to remember why did we come here to have one big adventure? What is an adventure for us? What do we consider one big adventure? And what are for some of our powers? And so we have to remember this. We have to remember why we decided to come here. And so we came with a spiritual team, and that spiritual team starts with your ancestors. Guess what? Grandma did this already. Grandpa did this already. Great grandma did this already. Great grandfather did this already. Type in a 5 if you're with me. All right. Great great uncle did this already. Great 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 auntie did this already. A lot of your ancestors did this already. I did this already. So you don't have to go and figure it out yourself. And that's why we start with our ancestors. Type in a 5 if you're with me. Okay? Because your ancestors did this already. So instead of having to figure it out and making all the mistakes and learning by trial and error on your own, you go and you consult your ancestors, and they help you skip the learning curve. They help you skip the learning curve. You don't need to go left. We already went left, and we already know that's a dead end. You don't need to go left anymore. Turn right this time. Because when we turn right, we found what we were looking for. So you don't even have to worry about turning left. Because when you try to do it on your own, what happens? You turn left, and then you have to realize that it's a dead end. And then now you have to start the journey over. And then finally you find right. And then now it's a new obstacle. But your ancestors already went through the obstacles. Your ancestors are your head start. You ever heard of white boy privilege, quote, quote, white boy privilege? What do we like about white boy privilege, right? They're usually born into some sort of privilege. They already have the path laid out for them. They already have everything is already cleared for them. And so you have that same type of privilege when you work with your ancestors, where everything is clear for you, where they're like, no, baby girl, you don't need to go down that path. We already went there. It's a dead end, baby girl. This is a heartbreak, baby girl. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. We, Uncle Leroy, Uncle Thomas, Uncle Johnny, Uncle Jim, Auntie Mary, they all did it already, and it did not end well. So let's just not do that at all. And let's take this route instead. And now you're skipping things, and now things are easier. And now that promotion comes to you easily. That new store, that the new resources you need to open your store is right there. The resources you needed to open your business. Clients are coming out of nowhere. You had an idea and you were like, I'm going to have 4 or 5 people in this ritual. Next thing I know, I've got 8 people already signed up. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have way more than I thought. That's what being aligned with your ancestors looks like. Okay. So those of you who are interested, the link is there here in the chat inside of Facebook. Okay. So just go ahead and you will get all the information. Go ahead and click on there. You'll get all the information. We're going to be working together for 30 days. Okay. It's going to be 30-day ritual. All right. We're going to be doing journal prompts. We're going to be writing down our dreams. We're going to be doing candle magic. We're going to be working with lamps. Okay. So it's going to be a very busy, very, very active 30 days where the goal is to literally go all in for 30 days straight. I promise you, you work with your ancestors 30 days straight. That's it. Right. We spent years, 30 plus years, not working with our ancestors. All you need to do is commit for 30 days of giving them that devotion, feeding them, having a candle lit for them, right? Giving offerings, speaking to them, praying with them, right? And we're going to do this for 30 days and watch your entire life shift. I have seen this over and over with my one-on-one clients. And I can say this with confidence. Your life will completely shift after that. I have seen it over and over and over with my one-on-one clients. So I decided this is a $500 service actually. Okay. When I do it with my one-on-one clients, it's $500. Okay. Now, if they do, sometimes we do payment plans. So sometimes it can be even more than 500, but because I am doing it in a group, okay, we're not doing one-on-one. Okay. It's going to be in a group. You're going to be part of the group. You get to tap into that group healing. Okay. I'm dragging the price down to $33.33. Okay. So I'm making it super affordable to reach those. There are those who need the one-on-one. Some people need that one-on-one, that specialized where we're working strictly, specifically for you and your ancestors. But some of you, you just need a start. You just need something to give you a boost, right? I have practitioners who are complete beginners, and I have practitioners who have been practicing for years in this. Okay. So it is a Haitian voodoo ritual. All right. So we will be learning. So you will be learning as you do. Because remember, Haitian voodoo is something you experience. Yes, I could teach you, I could lecture all day, but the only way to really learn Haitian voodoo is to do it, is to experience it. Okay. And so you will be experiencing a 30-day Haitian voodoo ritual that will connect you to your ancestors and elevate your spiritual wealth, your spiritual powers to a whole new level. Okay. All right. Beautiful. The blessings that come with obedience. Absolutely. Do we need Florida water? Yes, you're going to need Florida water. Actually, we start on the 15th, by the way. Okay, Miss Lady Cece. All right, we start on the 15th. So go ahead and click on the link if you're interested. Again, you don't have to commit. Just click on the link if you're interested, and then you will learn more, and then you can decide if you want to commit or not. Yes, you will need Florida water, but you have until the 15th to get that, okay? Or you can create your own Florida water, which is also a better option. Okay, so let's get back to the live here, okay? So the number one mistake that beginner practitioners make in their prosperity rituals is skipping steps, right? Not working with their ancestors, not establishing a strong enough relationship with your ancestors, okay? Number 2 is the ritual not being long enough, okay? This is a reason why, there's a reason why this is a 30-day ritual. Sometimes you guys are looking for these quick fixes. Listen, let's have a conversation real quick. It took 30 plus years for you to get to where you are right now, okay? Whatever the habit is that you're trying to break. Whatever the situation is you're trying to fix, whatever it is that you're trying to transform. It took 30 plus years for it to get here. Some of you are younger, some of you are in your 20s. Okay? But we're grown folks over here. We're having a heart to heart here. Okay? It took 30 plus years for your situation to get to what it is. It's going to take more than a 3-day ritual for you to undo and completely transform whatever it is that you're looking to transform. It's going to take more than just little whimsy candle from the dollar store that literally lights for 2 or 3 days for you to completely transform your situation. All right. And that is not to diminish your magic, because there are 3-day rituals that will get something popping. Absolutely. Sometimes all you need is a 3-day ritual. Absolutely. I'm not saying that 3-day rituals are not good now. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is some of you are trying to transform years of habits. Some of you are trying to transform years of abuse, years of the same pattern. So it's going to take a little bit more focus for you to completely break it permanently. And when I work with my clients, we're talking about permanent shifts. I'm not talking about quick fixes. I'm not talking about a quick little money spell that's going to give you a hit of adrenaline, that's going to make you feel good because you just manifested a whole bunch of money. And next thing you know, you're right back to where you started. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about permanent shifts, shifts that create a brand new reality. That's what I'm talking about. When you want those types of shifts, your ritual, your focus on that transformation, it may not be just the ritual. Sometimes you just need a 3-day ritual to ignite what you need to ignite, but it doesn't mean the work is done. Type in a 9 if you're with me, right? The length of the ritual is not the work, the length of the work. The length of the ritual is not the length of the work. Just because the ritual is 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, no matter if it's one initiation, a bath, no matter what it is, the work must continue. And so that's why the number 2 mistakes that beginners make is that their rituals or their work is not long enough. Type in a 9 if you're with me, all right? The work is not long enough. And that's why my 30-day ritual, right? We are focusing on transformation for 30 days straight. Could you imagine? Let's say that you had a light. Let's say you had a candle, right? And that candle, every time you concentrate on that candle, the flame gets a little bigger. Every time you concentrate on that candle, the flame gets a little bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the flame gets bigger and bigger. Imagine if you concentrate on that flame for 30 days straight. How big that flame would be. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of extending your work for 15 days, 30 days, 90 days, sometimes even an entire year. Type in a 9 if that made sense. Type in a 0 if I lost you. Okay? And so that's why my ritual, and those of you who are interested, I got a couple of 9s. Okay, those of you who are interested, I have the link there. You can go ahead and click on the link and sign up. Okay. All right. So yes, number 1 is skipping steps, not working with your ancestors. Number 2 is the ritual is not long enough. Okay. And number 3, right? Number 3 is neglecting the right offerings. Remember, ES says this all the time. The language of the universe is mathematics. I'm going to repeat that. The language of the universe is mathematics. The language of the universe is mathematics. What you put in is what you get out. Sometimes what you're asking for is going to take a little bit more than a green candle. Sometimes what you're asking for is going to take a little bit more than a tea light candle. Although you can move mountains with a tea light candle. Absolutely. You can move mountains. You can move mountains with a tea light candle. But sometimes the permanent shifts, remember what I said, permanent shifts. We're not talking about quick fixes. We're not talking about emergencies. We're not talking about spiritual warfare where you just got to put some defenses up real quick out of nowhere. We're not talking about that. We're talking about chronic conditions, reversing chronic conditions, chronic things, whether that's chronic health conditions, whether that's chronic wealth conditions, wealth meaning your money, right? Whether that's chronic relationship conditions, whether that's chronic body image conditions, whether that's chronic self-image, self-worth conditions, whatever that is that you're working on, right? It's going to take a little bit more than just lighting a candle. So remember, what you put in is what you put out. And so what are some offerings? What are some examples of offerings? Talk to me in the chat. What are some examples of offerings that can be used to amplify your work? Right? You're lighting that candle. I'm not diminishing lighting the candle. I'm not diminishing lighting the lamp. Absolutely not. Right? But what are some offerings? I'll go first, right? You could papaya. I talked about papaya. I love me some papaya for my ancestors, especially in prosperity work. Pineapples, right? That's another one for prosperity. Anything with seeds, anything that has seeds inside of it, right? Think of seeds, planting seeds, right? Abundance, seeds. I actually, I have this pepper plant that was given to me. I need to repot it. I need to put it in a pot, but it was given to me, right? And I've been it was the first time I've ever had a pepper plant, okay? And so I've been experimenting with it. So what I do is I stress it because I want the peppers to be hot. So I stress it. So I leave it like for a few weeks without water, and then I put it outside so it could get rainwater. So I took one of the peppers and I just like sprinkled the seeds inside just to see if anything would grow. And look, I have new plants. I don't know if you guys can see. You see those small little new plants right there, like right there, just from the seeds, and you see the seeds there. Okay, so right here on Facebook, I'm putting it in on Facebook so you can see. So all of that to say, what was the point of that? There's a point in this. Oh yeah, the seeds. Hello, that's what we were talking about. So that's the power of seeds, right? And so I just showed you a visual representation of the power of a seed, right? And so think of any type of offerings with seeds for prosperity, okay? So I don't see anything in the comments, any questions? Oshun Tara says that's an amazing point. I got to sit with that one. Yes, Ashe. I don't even remember which point it was, but yes, I'm glad that it resonated. So those of you who are just joining in, all right, we're wrapping it up. Today we talked about the top 3 mistakes, 3 common prosperity ritual mistakes that you're probably making. Okay, so the first one is skipping steps. Right, we have to build a relationship with our ancestors. We have to remember who we are so that we're not starting from zero. Our ancestors did this already. They've done this life thing already. They've played this game of life before. And so there are certain wisdoms, there are certain things that they learn throughout their experiences that they can teach to you. Okay, they can teach you those mistakes that they made. They can teach you what they learned already so that you have a head start, so that you have that privilege, right? You don't need to go left and figure out that left turn was the wrong turn. You don't need to go through that. You can already know, hey, I don't need to take this left turn to know that that's the wrong turn because my ancestors already told me it's the wrong turn. So I'm just going to skip that altogether. And now I'm ahead, right? Now I'm moving much faster than they did. And now my journey is much faster. Now I'm getting better, clearer results. All right. Type in a 7 if that made sense. Type in a 7 if that made sense. Those of you on Facebook as well. Okay. And number 2, we talked about your rituals are not long enough, right? It's going to take a little bit more than just one little measly little candle, right? Now I'm not trying to diminish anything from your candle because your candle can get some things moving. I have done some things with a tea light candle. Okay, I have done some things with with a tea light candle, but these are temporary fixes. They're band-aids usually. They're like, hey, we need a punch, we need a ignite, we need a little bullet of something. But to create that permanent shift from these chronic conditions, whether that's health conditions, whether that's wealth conditions, conditions with your money, conditions with your relationships, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your body. These things are things that you have been carrying around for 30 plus years. It's going to take a little bit longer to undo them, right? And so we must give it attention for a little bit longer, right? It's not going to take you 30 years to fix, but it's going to take a little longer than 3 or 4 days, okay? All right. And last but not least, let me go back to my notes. You're not amplifying your rituals with the right offerings. Okay. Yes, you can light a green candle. Yes, you could put some herbs in a lamp. Yes. But when you start adding offerings, right? Remember, what you put in is what you get out, right? So if you're presenting offerings, things with seeds, fruits, papaya, pineapples. I know pineapples don't have seeds, but pineapples are representation of abundance. As a matter of fact, when I went to London and I visited the palace, the Buckingham Palace, there were pineapples all over, all up and down the palace. So you already know that pineapples is a symbol of luxury, of royalty. Okay. And so things with seeds in them, pomegranate, I'm looking at my altar here, apples, oranges, right? Anything with seeds, basically. Okay. All right, everyone. So I don't see any questions, comments, observations. Again, those of you who are just joining in, maybe you didn't know, I am having a 30-day ancestor harmonization ritual where we're going to be connecting with the energy of our ancestors. We're going to get to know who we are. We're going to amplify our magic from within, right? We're going to understand and reconnect. Because remember, guys, here's the thing. A lot of your ancestors already did this. A lot of your ancestors already practiced voodoo. A lot of your ancestors already practiced Ifa. A lot of your ancestors already practiced hoodoo. They were probably practicing it in secret. And then even beyond that, where before colonization, you didn't have to practice it in secret. So a lot of things that you're looking for in these books, a lot of things that you're looking for all over the internet are right inside of your DNA. And in order for you to unlock that knowledge, you must have a strong relationship with your ancestors, right? And so instead of looking all everywhere else but within, right? Why not connect with who you are and where you came from so that you can unlock the knowledge that's already inside of you? Because when you unlock the knowledge from within, you never forget it. That's number one. And you have so much conviction in it because you're the one who came up with it, right? That the conviction gives it that much more power, right? And so those of you who are interested, go ahead and click on the link, and then I will drop all the information. And if you decide, hey, you know what, this is not for me, it's not really my thing, Kat, then you can always exit the chat. But if you say this is exactly what I've been looking for, then you can write your name. And the investment is $33. I'm letting you know it's not free. All right. This type of knowledge is not free. As much as I would love to make it free, even when I make it free, people don't show up. Right. I had a free class the other day. I don't know. I must have had at least, I haven't counted, probably a little less than 100 people sign up. All right. If I haven't counted yet, but based on every day, everybody was signing up. I had about 25 people show up. When I do things that are free, people don't take it seriously, right? They don't participate. And so I'm charging to hold you accountable. I know that you paid for it, so you're going to take it seriously. Okay. All right, everyone. I'll see you soon. Have a good night. Bye.